Om Shanti, everyone. And may no way anybody take away my peace. Can you all say it? No way anybody take away my peace. And remember that. This is a really good mantra. Because we give it away, we give our energy away, we give our energy away to the news, we give our energy away to fear, we give it away when really we know we just have to take it back and look at the present moment. The talk is living in the present moment. Look at this moment. What causes to worry is fears, it's things that are maybe going to happen tomorrow or what happened yesterday. We are never in the present moment, but if we could learn to be in the present moment, nothing can take our peace away. But it takes training. It is training, and this is the yoga science. Train your mind, train your mind. It can't happen overnight. If you are born with a lot of fear, what's going to happen? Immediately something goes wrong, you're going to be fearful, right? You cannot live in the present moment. So what you have to keep reminding yourself is, I am here now. Are you all here now? Are you all here now? Yes, you are all here now. What is happening now? Anything negative? I am looking at all these beautiful faces, so I'm very happy. You know, I am looking at a group of people who want to make their lives better. I am very happy. I am looking at a group of people who are kind. I am very happy. So what world am I seeing right now? So I'm in what? Heaven. Do you see? It is how we see the world. If we see the world as darkness, just because a few people portray it as such, it is not the truth. You cannot live in the present. This is why I always say, and Lord Jesus said, know the truth and the truth will set you free. Look at the truth all the time. You can hear all these fearful things on the news, but what is the truth? You go home and you have dinner with your partner. So you're on lockdown. How much fun. Let's have some romance. Let's do something interesting. Let's go study a book together. Maybe take an online course together. Maybe that would be really fun. Think creatively. Remember, our master often said, he and art make heart. Rather than dwelling in this negativity and, the world is such a difficult place. Whoa, how can I ride this wave? How can I use my particular gift? And everybody has a gift. Please say that you do, because people go, oh, Nalanie, what do I have to offer the world? And I go, a beautiful smile. Isn't that a nice thing to offer the world? Maybe you can't give anything else, but you can smile. But if you smile, the person who's looking at you, what will they do? Like you've just done now, and you'll smile back, right? You will smile. That you can do. And when you practice this over a long time, you start to keep looking at your life at the present moment. Our problem is 99%, or some people even 100%, live in the past. And Sri Patanjali tells us in the Book of Science, he says, our minds are full of two kinds of thoughts, painful and painless. And what's in them, he goes, well, either you're misconceiving an event, or you heard some gossip, or you heard something that's not truthful, and you believed it. And because you believed something that was not truthful, it went into your brain cells, and then the neurons went crazy, and the mind went round and round, right? Then he says, or maybe you're very judgmental and you think this has to be done this way and this way and this way, and your judgmentalness makes you miserable. Or maybe you're steep in, you have a memory of a dream, maybe you had a bad dream, and then that's revolving in your mind. And you see, we're not living in the present. We're always living in thought realm. We are not our thoughts. I keep saying, Master Shivananda said over and over again, remember who you are. Remember who you are. I'm not this body. I'm not this mind. Immortal self I am. So, even in the Christian tradition, glory be to the Father, to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and forever shall be. We're never going to die. We are spirit. We are spirit. And like we said before I came in here, this looks like a movie stage, doesn't it? And I guess the cinema today is Nalanie talking about living in the present. And my cinema is all of you all over the world on Zoom, and all of you here. That's my cinema. You don't realize you're my cinema, but I do, because I'm living in the present and I'm enjoying your expressions and I'm enjoying your face. But most of all, I'm enjoying the feeling I'm getting, because this is how we live in the present. When you live in the present, you feel energies. This is so important, because if you're not living in the present, and I'll give you an example, something so funny, but I'll give you an example. When I first started this path, right, my mind was always in the past, always complaining. And then for 3 or 4 years, I practiced meditation, tried to focus, practice with a mantra. And then I was like nicely walking down. I used to live in Marina Court. So nicely walking down the edge of the pavement. And suddenly, because I was enjoying the moment, I was looking at the tree, I was looking at, just looking with no negative in my mind, just, like blessing the world kind of thought. Suddenly, I heard a voice, very loud, move. I moved a little bit to the right, just slightly, boom, a huge truck came by my side. And that, how they have these big mirrors? It would have knocked my head. Now, who asked me to move? What happened? And I listened. You see, all the time I feel we're guided and we're protected. We have all protection, but either from our inner voice or guides, whatever you want to think, it doesn't matter. The truth is that we are guided. But most of the time, we're not living in the present, and our minds are so engrossed in our past or fear for the future that we miss, we miss things. I could have died. Or, we miss what's happening now because we're so miserable in the past or focusing on the future. So what do you do? Well, I won't ask that question because I can see maybe somebody else is going to ask that question. So let's see I got quite a few questions here. Okay, so let's look at the first question. How can you stop your thoughts from going back to the past and stop thoughts to words that were used to scare you? Let's do the first one. The first one is, how can you stop your thoughts from going back to the past? First of all, educate yourself. Okay? Educate yourself. And you have by just even asking this question. Why are my thoughts going back to the past? What can I do? Sri Patanjali in the Book of Science gives us 2 methods. One is practice, and the other one is non-attachment. Now, what does he tell us to practice? He says, your effort that you make in keeping your mind steady is practice, okay? So you have to make an effort to keep the mind steady. How do you do that? For example, what we did just now when I came in. You look at your thoughts and you can see they're going back to the past, right? They're going back to the past. I don't want to go there. But saying I don't want to go there will make you go there. So there's another practice called Pratipaksha Bhavana. What does that mean? Replacing that thought with an opposite positive thought. So you don't go like, oh, these thoughts, I don't want to think it. I'm trying to steady my mind. I can't do it. You can use a few methods. One is you take a deep breath. This is in the past. I'm dwelling in the past. Focus on now. Focus on this moment. And the mind will go again back to the past. Second method. And you can use all these simultaneously. All right? Use a mantra. Choose something that makes you calm right down, okay? So my mantra I use, but you can use like for Om Namah Shivaya, or this too shall pass. I am peaceful, I am easeful, Hari Om, Om Shanti, whatever you choose, you decide. and choose it and keep using the same one. Okay, don't change. Let's say you choose Om Shanti, Om Peace. Stick with it, stick with it, stick with it, stick with it. Why? Because it becomes your best friend. Next time that awful thought comes, you do this for a week, and as soon as it comes, Om Shanti will come. Why? It's training. You built up the mental muscles. And science has proven this today, okay? With neuroscience, this is so proven. So this is so interesting. What they knew 3,000 years ago, science is proving it today. Okay, and if you can't do that, it's too difficult, then you think of a beautiful scene. Or you know what really works? Something very funny. You know, this is what I use in the example most of the time, because when I was giving a teacher training one time, and we had somebody in the room, and he said he had been meditating for 10 years, but he was always arguing with himself, always fighting his negative thoughts. So he felt he could never go into meditation because he was constantly fighting his negative thoughts. So that day I had spoken about Friends, which I often do. It's one of my favorite series because it makes me laugh. But that particular day, I chose Big Bang Theory. Don't know why. Probably for him. Because I said, you know, so sometimes you use a holy thought, it doesn't work because you get irritated with the divine. Some days you just don't trust, you know what human mind is, right? So you get irritated. So I said, think of something really funny. I said, what makes me laugh a lot is Sheldon knocking on Penny's door. Penny. I mean, it really makes me laugh, you know. Any of you watch Big Bang Theory? So I just burst up, and he's such a character, right? And also Phoebe, smelly cat, you know. And she just makes me laugh. So you think of something so different, Praktipaksha Bhavana, and then with the moment you start laughing, what have you done to your entire body system? Yes, it starts to relax. And then you go, oh my God, I got so carried away with this negative thought. So anyway, I told him, this guy, right, about Sheldon. And then we had a long meditation at the end. And he came out like laughing. This guy's really serious during the whole course, right? Long face. And he comes out laughing. And I thought, wow. And he came right up to me. He said, I've been meditating 10 years. And you know my problem? I'm too serious. Today, Nalanie, for the first time, I just relaxed. I just felt the love rise in my heart. I saw Sheldon doing this because I love Big Bang Theory. It's my favorite comedy. And suddenly, I relaxed in my mind. And then I could do the mantra. And then I could focus on the mantra. When my heart was light, I could do it. So, do you see? So these are some of the methods. Of course, there are hundreds, which I can't tell you all in 1 hour. It takes a lifetime. But you start with these simple methods. Because if it's too many methods, you'll get confused. When you go home, you're not going to remember them. Remember, spiritual knowledge is keep it simple. That's the secret. Our minds are too intelligent. That's what gets us in trouble. And the more intelligent your mind, guess what? The worse it is. Not better. Because you start screaming at yourself, why didn't I do it this way? I should know better, What's the point of telling yourself off? You're only increasing that negative energy. You got it? Opposite positive thought. And to stop thoughts to words that were used to scare you. Okay, what's happened? In the past, somebody has said some horrible things to you. Anybody would like to give me an example of something not so nice? That
Crazy.
You're crazy. Okay. You're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy. And what happened when they said that to you?
I thought I was crazy.
See, that's as you hear it, you get it. So when you have this knowledge and you see that those thoughts made you so scared, made you so uncomfortable, made you suffer so much, and you don't want to do it to anybody else. Build the compassion if those thoughts made me so sick and made me so sad and made me so lost, wow, I'm using these words on somebody else? How scary is that? That's even more scary than somebody doing it to you. You doing it to somebody else. That's horrible. That is really sad. All right? So that will make you stop. Every time you say those words, maybe because somebody said it to you, I know you don't say it to anybody else, but let's say you did, you're crazy. That doesn't work, because that hurts me, so it's going to hurt somebody else. So anyway, I hope I've answered your question. So you don't use those scary words. How do you stop using those words? Practice. You know, in the beginning when I started this practice, I could be quite horrible and say horrible things. And of course, when I started and I heard my words, oh my God, I got frightened. So I used to, before you say anything that is not kind, I used to imagine a zip right here in my mouth. And I used to tell myself, zip it, Nalanie, you're going to regret it. Zip it. If you don't zip it, you're going to regret it. Because how would you like it if somebody said this to you? I always would put myself in somebody else's shoe. That helped me a lot. How would I like it if somebody said those words to me? They would not like it. I would not like it. So why am I doing something I would not like to receive? Because you know, also when you learn about karma, educating yourself, and it's a scientific law, every cause has an effect, every action a reaction. As you sow, you reap. Once you really know this, guess what? You will watch those words. You will really watch them, because you know you're going to get them sooner or later, you know. And what I used to do is, when something negative used to happen to me, instead of blaming anybody, I would say, wow, one bad karma gone. I must have hurt this person somewhere in my life here or in a previous life. I don't know. But one bad karma gone. And great. So this is out of my life. Let's make the next action living in the present, living in the present. Be aware of what I'm saying all the time. Now, of course, the first 2-3 years of practice is exhausting. So be patient with yourself. It is tiring to be constantly, working on your mind. But today, you are living in very interesting times. As social media gives us a lot of problems, there is also a lot of good. We have this Zoom. We have many nice talks on YouTube. There are wonderful, wonderful people all over the world now, telling us to listen to our spirit, listen to our inner voice. So many good people. There are all the teachers in this center who work devotedly to serve anybody who comes here, who propagate this harmony and goodness. And this is what we need to focus on. There's so much good. There is so much good. I'm living in the present. There is so much good. There is so much good in the present. Why am I dwelling in the past when I'm going to miss this moment? I'm going to miss this moment. And remember that song, Living in the Living Years? Who was it by? Les, do you remember?
Mike and the Mechanics.
Mike and the Mechanics. Say it loud. Say it clear. Say it in the living years. It's too late when you die to admit you don't see eye to eye. You see, many times we have so much anger inside us, so much frustration, and we don't talk. We don't communicate with people. We just keep the anger inside and inside and inside until we blow up, or we have a severe depression, because that's what it does. They call this today post-traumatic stress disorder, right? Because there's so much trauma, there is so much anger, there is so much fear. So say it loud, say it clear, say it lovingly. The yoga science say be truthful, but be truthful with love. What builds? Why can't you live in the present? Because you're thinking so much anger, so much frustration. You haven't voiced it, you haven't cleared out the ground. Your field, your life is full of things that you're hiding. So you can't be living in the present because it's impossible with all those thoughts. So you need to clear the ground like a farmer. You need to go and mow your lawn and clear out all the debris, and then you watch the new grass grow. You watch the new grass grow, but you have to do the hard work. And what is the hard work but forgiveness? For me, it's the best job in the world. You got to forgive. But not only forgive others, forgive yourself for what you've done to others. I always say it takes two hands to clap. Maybe one claps harder, but you still need the other hand. You still need the other hand. So no matter how bad that one is, you must have allowed some of it yourself. Must have. We all come to learn. And if you see that these events, these traumatic events in our life, have taught us to be more truthful to ourselves in the way we react to the people around us. Sometimes, as spiritual aspirants, we try to be so good that we become hypocrites to our own minds. We do. For example, I often use the example of myself because I think many of you as householders can relate to this. Many years ago, I wanted to be such a good wife, such a good wife. I wanted to be such a good wife. I wanted to be such a good mother. I wanted to be the best businesswoman working with my husband in the shop for many years, right? So I wanted to portray this image. So I would come home. My husband was not a good cook, although at the end of his life he did learn to cook and he died. But it doesn't matter, that was maybe his learning. So anyway, so I would come home working in the shop all day because I was good at it. Then I'd come home, bang all the pots and pans and cook all the food, put all that negative energy into the food, and I'd get angry with my husband because I did it all. But did I really do it all for him? I did it all because I wanted to be that perfect woman. And then when I studied the science, I realized I was lying to me, and I was shouting at him, not because of it's his fault, because I wanted the world and him to think I was a perfect woman. And because I was angry was not because I was trying to be the perfect woman, but because he didn't know how to cook and he was using me. Oh, how twisted is that? And when I saw that, it was really simple. Days we come back from work, darling, you know what? I don't know why, I'm really tired today. I'm not good. I don't feel like cooking. Sure, darling, no problem. I'll take you out because you don't want to cook. No problem, he's taking me out. Even better, nobody has to wash dishes, right? Such a simple solution. Why did I complicate it so much in my head? Ego. I had to appear so perfect. And when I learned that I didn't have to do anything but be who I was, and some days my food would turn out delicious and some days it didn't, who cares? Some days I would be clever and some days I'd be dumb. Who cares? I was living in the moment, who I was now. And then I didn't have to project all these images of myself, like this movie, that I wanted people to see me as holier than thou. What a hypocrite. What a hypocrite. I was lying to myself, you see. And when I started to shed all these layers of pretense, truthful to myself, oh, Nellie, get over it. You know? And this is what we do, most of us. We live in this world of pretense. And then because we are not ourselves, we're trying to be what everybody thinks we should be, then we can't, we're suffocated like this because we can't be natural. And I always say to my students, and you'll know, the wonderful thing of this practice is for the first time after 5 years of meditating and studying and learning about spirit, I finally felt at home in this body. I never felt at home. I never felt comfortable. Oh yes, Hong Kong was my home, then Gibraltar became my home, but I was never comfortable here in this body. Because how can I be comfortable if I wasn't me? And then who was I? That was the next thing. Oh, when I was in a shop, I was a businesswoman, so I'll be a very good businesswoman. That's what I learned. You play the parts you're given. And if I'm going to be a good wife, I'm not going to lie about it. When I'm tired, I'm going to say it. If I didn't like something, I was going to tell my husband, I don't like this. I love you, but I don't like this about you. Oh, it was so freeing. And he would tell me, yeah, I love you too, but I don't like this about you. Great. Cleared the air. I'll do this less and you do this less. Agreed? Agreed. Easy. It was done. But it wasn't like, it's your fault. Do you see what I'm saying? And these kind of things stop us from living in the present. So we need to mow the lawn. We need to sort out these silly, petty things. Focus on higher things. And what do you focus on? In the living years. Because it's too late when I die. I want my life with my family to be wholesome, to be truthful, to be loving. And sometimes in a family, you're going to argue and you're going to have fights and and that's truthful. We're human. And there's no big deal as long as you forgive, give them a hug at the end of it. Oh, I lost it today. I'm sorry. What stops us from doing that? Guess. Ego. I have to be right and you have to be wrong. Even when we know we're wrong, we don't want to admit it. Quite funny, the human brain. So when you learn about yourself, this is what happens. You start to live in the present. So you see, there's a lot, and all the work is in here, in the mind. And when that is free, then we go to a higher state of understanding. What is the highest state of understanding? Oh my God, my life, tick tock, tick tock. My life is going very quickly. What have I done that's meaningful? That's made a difference. That means anything. Oh my God, I've wasted so much time. I need to live in the present, and I need to make every second count. Because nobody else can do that for me except me. Nobody can come and heal it except me. And how do I know I can do that? Because I know the divine, that divine energy, that divinity is in all of us. And all the scriptures that I've read, every single scripture, tells me it's in all of us. These sparks of light are in all of us. And if I can touch this spark, I can do anything. And then I hear my master's words, and I heard this for years, and we said this in this yoga center for years and years and years. If you have complete faith, nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. And I kept hearing those words. You can do it, girl. And of course, when you start to live this way, opportunities come, and you listen and you follow. And this is what you call the flow of life. So today this didn't work. Oh, when things go wrong, we have a good laugh. Oh, why has it gone wrong? Oh my God, it went wrong because this had to happen. Oh my goodness. When you look at life that way, you enjoy the present moment. You don't waste time. And when you are just simple things, that is the moment when you really know the divine is with you all the time. You really feel it. You really feel that flow of energy, and you feel so connected to what we call God or the higher power, so connected, because there's nothing to influence. There's no more these thoughts. They're just, how easy, not how difficult. So that's how you live in the present moment through your difficult times. And if it's really difficult, cry while you're doing it. Get it out of your system. I really don't like this job. So because I don't like it, I'm going to do it really fast. So you see, you work your way through these things and you realize there's so many solutions, leaving your mind free to live in the present moment without all those clogs and plugs in the mind. And just enjoy the moment. And if you're sad this moment, okay, you're sad, big deal. Who doesn't get sad? Anybody? Anybody in the world there I'm seeing? Do you, all of you, don't you get sad some days? So what's the big deal? Sri Patanjali tells us, he said, when we live in this world, we will be governed by different moods. This is human. This is human. Just don't let the moods get to you. I remember a long time ago, somebody asked me, as a student, she said, Nalanie, and this woman is a very hard worker. She ran a shop. She did lots of stuff, always moving. And she goes, Nalanie, I'm a bad yogi. And I go, why are you a bad yogi? I said, I spent all Sunday in front of a television set. So I asked her a simple question. Did you enjoy it? I really enjoyed it, except that every single second I was thinking I was feeling guilty. Do you see? And I said, why are you feeling guilty if you enjoyed it? Because I shouldn't be watching TV all day. And why did you watch TV all day? Because I was exhausted. I couldn't think anymore. Did anybody in your family mind? No. In fact, they all joined me. So, where's the guilt? What did you do wrong? Do you see how we judge ourselves? You probably needed the rest because you never stop. And because when you do stop, your mind doesn't stop. Because her mind was always finding drama. That was her nature, always drama. So maybe watching TV was the safest thing you did that day. Are you getting it? So we never know. We just don't know. So I'll go to the next question. At what point does waking up and meditating become effortless? When you start to enjoy it so much. When it becomes like, oh, this is my private time with the divine. This is my time that is just for me and my soul and my spirit. When you start not dwelling in the past so much and just living in the present, and when you've already done all your forgiving and all the things that you need to do with your mind, and then you're sitting down and you're just wishing the world well and everybody around you well, and then you just long to sit, and it becomes effortless. But not everybody in this day and age find it easy to just sit in meditation like that. So I advise, I have some students who have reached great heights of peace by just going to the beach. One is Turtu, right? She always tells us and tells everybody, I can't meditate in front of an altar or in the house. It can't. My mind goes crazy. But I go to the beach every morning with her 2 dogs, and she puts out her towel, winter, summer. She does it every day in the rain. Literally, she takes her umbrella with her. And she goes to the beach, and she sits in front of the sea, and she's in heaven. She must feel in heaven to go through in the cold weather on the beach. So I certainly couldn't do that. Do you see what I mean? It's, and she goes, Nalanie, do I have to sit in a room? I said, no, because that's more mind control than I could ever do. That's pretty good what you're doing. But again, ask yourself the question, how does it feel? Wonderful. Has it transformed your life? And I know it has. Totally transformed her life. And she goes, absolutely. Then it works. Then it works. Who's to say which way is right or wrong? The goal is peace. You've achieved it. Stick to it. If you start meditating in the temple now, you may not be able to do it. You may be angry about it. Do you see what I'm saying? So this is her way of looking at meditation. So when does it become effortless? When that happens. Also, many of the masters tell us Bhakti yoga is a shortcut. What does bhakti mean? Love. That when you have love coming from your heart, it is a shortcut. And when you build love in your practice. So in the beginning, for me, when I first started meditation, I could not see that divine energy as everything and nothing. I couldn't physically with my mind. I needed something. I needed a picture. I needed a form. So I saw it was humanly possible to become so wonderful with that energy in my guru. So I started to meditate on his picture first, for the first few years. His picture is still there. And I have Lord Shiva, I have Lord Jesus, I have all my friends, I call them. I have Mother Mary, I love them all. I just love them all so much. And that filled my heart with love. I think that was the secret of being effortless. I just sat there, oh, I love you guys so much. You're my friend, you're looking after me. When I'm with you, I'm not scared, I'm not fearful. So what happened? As you think, so you become. Correct. Absolutely. And that is exactly, what was I thinking? You tell me, what was I thinking? Joyful thoughts, love. And then what will you think throughout the day if you start your day like this? And then what will you experience? You've just created your world. Are you getting it? So love is the shortcut. So if you don't believe in anything, light a candle and think, the flame, what does the flame mean to you? I tell many people who have no belief system, I say, what does it represent to you? Light in the darkness. And if you really stare at the flame long enough, and I don't know if you've done it, if you haven't, please go home and practice. It's really quite interesting. If you stare at it long enough, the rays of a small flame, you stare, suddenly you will see that flame reach beyond the ceiling. It's so cool. And then wow. Just that, wow. How far does the light of the flame go? So how much further does the light of your spirit go when you're full of light? When you're full of light, you become light, right? When you're light, people want to be around you. You're like, oh, all day long. Nobody wants to be around you. Then you go, nobody likes me, Nalanie. I said, can you blame them? Can you blame them? Who wants to be around a depressed person all day long? Can you blame them? Who wants to be around somebody who's complaining all the time? Can you blame them? Oh, that's pretty cruel. It's pretty truthful. I love you. I will tell you the truth. So look at yourself. What are you portraying? What are you feeling? What are your thoughts? Work with your heart more. And this would be my advice. And when you do that, meditation is exciting time. I get so excited every day, and I've been meditating for nearly 30 years now. So, wow. And I still don't want to give it up. I find it easier to be in the present while sitting in silence and focusing on the breath, or whilst doing an activity that requires all my attention. But how can we practice being present during our day-to-day tasks? Okay. My master used to say, Hattamekam manomeram. What does that mean? Work with your hands, and in the mind, be with Ram. Ram is one of our representations of a perfect human being, Lord Rama. And he was just a great son, a great brother, a great human being, a great husband, a good person. And in our tradition, we call him Lord Rama. To be like that, right? So when you're working, you sing. That's how you can do it. And I learned this great lesson actually when I was reading one of the translations of the Living Gita, I think, or either the sutras. I think it was the Living Gita. And my master wrote there that there was a priest one time who didn't like to wash dishes. And then he changed his way of thinking by thinking, every time I'm washing dishes, I'm making music for God. I didn't like to wash dishes when I first came to Gibraltar. I was brought up in Hong Kong, totally spoiled with lots of maids. I never had to wash a dish till I went to university. So I didn't like washing dishes. I didn't like cleaning. So I complained, and as a result, eczema all over my hands. So I looked at that and go, every time I'm washing a dish, I'm making music for God. I'm making music. I love washing dishes. I really don't think twice. I don't even think about it now. It's so natural. It's just so natural. We finish a meal and both of us just go, washing dishes. We don't even think about it. We both don't like dirty dishes for the next day. So our kitchen is always clean. So that's it. Well, we don't think about it. It's just one thing we like to do now because that was the training. So yes, so you live in the present by focusing on the job at hand. Whatever you are doing, think you are doing it. You want to do it to the best of your ability. Bhagavad Gita, perfection in action is yoga. So you go to work and you're supposed to do, maybe you have to do a report. What happens? What takes you so long to do a report? I remember I used to do this in university, right? You have to write dissertation. Fear. Will I get it right? Will I do this? Will I have time to do the research? Will I have to do this? So you're starting and you're already thinking so many thoughts. You've already lost 20 minutes thinking all those thoughts, right? So the difference after meditation, and I took here, after I started to meditate, I took for fun, before I started teaching this, I wanted to learn again. So I went to the college here and took English A levels again to see, after 13 years of not studying and working in the shop, did I still have a brain to study, right? So I took the A levels, I remember, and the difference with meditation was this: focusing. I had a book to read, and I wasn't going to take the exam, but my teacher, Anne Gomley, said to me, Nalanie, why don't you just take the exam? I said, but people have taken it for 2 years. I'm just I'm studying 9 texts in 9 months, 8 months. You can do it. She believed in me, so I did it. So I just focused. And I'm reading Charles Dickens' Dombey and Son. Now, normally, I'm not going to get through it. University days, memory. I have to stay up all night, big huge thing of coffee, drink, get hyper, go to the exam shaking. This was piece of cake. One, no expectation. I was doing it for fun. Easy. I didn't have to pass. Wonderful. No expectation. This is the non-attachment, right, to the result. Okay? 2, I'm doing it for fun, so I'm going to enjoy the book. Read. Get up naturally to read it, not forcing myself. Then I see something. Oh, I like what he says here. I write it down in these kind of little papers, stick it all over my bathroom, my house, and read all the quotes. So, and I have to thank my spiritual studies for this, because I'll give you an example. What happens when you live in the present? We had to do, I don't know if any of you have done it, Wasteland by T.S. Eliot. You've done it. Okay, great. And he finishes off that poem, which is like an epic poem, with Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And he takes some of the teachings from the Upanishads, right? So thank God I was reading the Upanishads, understood what he was saying. And the teacher said, you just study this one poem by T.S. Eliot. It comes out every year. And I said to her, she said, no, you don't have time, so you just study this one poem. And I said, should I study another one just in case? No. Guess what? First year didn't come out. So what did I do? Again, no fear, because I didn't care if I passed or failed. I was doing it for? Got it? Doing it for fun. 2, I really did my best. Correct. So I answered the question by saying, I'm going to analyze this poem, but I cannot analyze this poem without talking about The Wasteland by T.S., his greatest work. And then I compared this poem, which I never studied, with The Wasteland. Guess what? I got an A. I couldn't believe it. You go with the flow. Do you see? When you live in the present moment, it doesn't matter what you are doing. Studying, reading, because we are human beings, we have to live a life, we have to go to work, we have to do things, but focus. the meditation and the teaching helped me to focus and not get attached to the result. Constantly ask myself, why was I doing it? Because I loved it. I was doing it for fun. When I was working the shop, it wasn't a job I wanted to do. So I complained because I was doing it for my husband. I was doing it because my kids could go to the best schools. So I was working. When I changed the chip, when I started meditation, I am doing it because I want to. I want to do it with my husband. It is our children. I want to do it for them. And now that I have to do it, I'm going to love it. And when I started to love it, the gods threw me out. No longer needed there. Go and teach yoga, So do you see what happens? That's how you live in the present. That's how you apply the teachings. By always just, for me, I've told you all 100 times, God is Lord of love. When you're in that space, you feel free. And then when there's no expectation, you also feel free. So that's the practice and the non-attachment. Don't expect anything. That's why I say if you're going to do some work, please choose a job that you're going to love. And if you don't love it, make sure you're grateful for it. This money comes in, helps me feed my family, helps me feed this, helps me bring my home to a beautiful place. I am grateful. Constant gratitude. That's how you do it. Whatever I bring in, I'm so grateful for the opportunity that I even have a job, that I even am so independent, that I don't have to think anybody has to look after me. And like Kennedy say, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country, as you quoted today, Lakshmi, to me. And that's why it came out. And then, yeah, exactly. Then you live in a different way, you live in the present. And when you're going through a storm, as Les told me this morning as well, he said he read something on Instagram by somebody he follows, Tom Fisk, who's a great photographer. And what was it, the story?
Every storm runs out of rain.
Every storm runs out of rain. Every night becomes day. Yeah? So when you are in a place that you are stuck, remember, it's okay. You're just stuck. Right now, make yourself well. How can you make yourself well when you're stuck? Breathe. Be grateful for anybody who shows you a little compassion and kindness. Instead of expecting, you should look after me because I'm sick. No. I've disrupted my whole family. Thank you for being patient with me. Gratitude. And then you're living in the present.